Okay, back to our portrait. First, let's break the photo up into planes and shapes with some tracing paper. Seeing it done this way first will help you visualize what to expect in your preliminary sketch. I'm just breaking the image up into simple planes, no curves, just straight lines and angles, the way a computer would render a 3D image. When I was studying, occasionally I would get a drawing teacher who wanted us to memorize where all the planes on the face and figure are, and it never made sense to me. I suppose that would be useful if I wanted to draw comic book characters, but to draw something that actually resembles the subject, you have to learn how to follow cues and form created by light and shadow, whether you're drawing from a photo reference or from life. For example, shapes like this triangle of light below her eye are incredibly important landmarks that you can use to help you line up features and make sure your ratios are correct. I can use the shape of this light patch to help me find negative shapes, like this one the shadow under her eye makes, and I can use that to help me determine the size and shape of her eye. And the bottom point lines up with the corner of her mouth, so I'll know where to start that as well. Don't get me wrong, the planes are there for you to use. It's just not one size fits all. Ultimately, I want you to learn how to simplify shapes and use them to your advantage. This is the perfect example of form lighting. If I shade in this side, you'll start to see how simple these shapes really are. See how form lighting breaks up the planes for you? The top lip is its own plane. This side of her lip is another plane. The bottom lip is three planes, like this. I'll outline the highlights to simplify them. Again, think of a preliminary drawing like a relief map. A highlight is just as important of a landmark as an eye. Forget that they're features, just think about them as shapes. So again, to shoot this, I put a light source here. I put a reflective board here, which bounced the light from the light source back up into the shadow to fill it in and create rim light on the edge of her jaw and chin. The reflector makes sure you get information in the shadow, like the definition on the side of her nose, for example. Once you have these shapes in, you can start to look for how they flow together. Now that you know what to look for in the geometry of a person's face, you'll start to see it everywhere. It's incredible. Let me show you. As I said before, the corner of the eye lines up with this light shape. The highlight on her cheek perfectly intersects her pupil if you connect it to the highlight on her forehead. And look how the shape of that plane flows right up into her eyebrow, then exactly to the top of the highlight on her forehead. Perfect. I'll define this highlight. Can you see the plane between her chin and cheek? It's light, but there it is. This area on her neck is a midtone. And this is all the information you'll need to achieve in your preliminary drawing. Let's get started.